Welcome to the webinar of Fast Automotive Group. We are going to give you today a webinar about our face shield project. The agenda for today is, first I will start with a short welcome to everybody and an introduction. And then, secondly, we will hold the webinar. I'm going to present you slides about our project and about Fast Automotive. And at the end, we will have a Q&A session. You can use the chat function in YouTube to raise your questions already also during the webinar itself. So, the learnings from today are a few. First, you will learn why and how automotive suppliers do cooperate along the product value chain to strengthen their market position. Secondly, what are the benefits and the results of such cooperation? And thirdly, we will give you a real-life example of our face shield protection, which we developed and implemented to support the fight against the COVID-19. Is there actually any commonality between the automotive industry and face shields? You would expect probably not, but there is actually. I am supporting the vision of Jan Rotmans, Professor Jan Rotmans from the university in Rotterdam, and he supports and he talks about the change of an era where we are currently in. So we are not necessarily in an era with many changes, but we are in a transition period where we're changing era. And in that context, it is actually not only what it's important what you do, but it is even more important about how you do things. And that is exactly where Fast Automotive Group is about. My name is Luc van Eer. I am the CEO and co-founder of the Fast Automotive Group, and I have more than 20 years of experience in the automotive industry. I've been working at suppliers, at OEMs in various countries, and I've held various positions in this automotive industry in engineering, sales and marketing, program management, business development, finance, and HR. If we from Fast Automotive, if we go to a customer, the major and first question what we put to our customer is the following. Is what if the best specialists, the best suppliers from your value chain would work together to create the solutions for tomorrow's automotive industry? The automotive industry is undergoing a huge transformation, as you might know. And this is actually driven by 4 megatrends. First of all, the electrification, the digitization, autonomous driving, and new mobility concepts. And those 4 megatrends drive that, I would say, basically all parts in the car are changing. Thus, the whole car will change significantly, and there's a huge need for innovation at this moment. And I think the automotive industry has not always been very good in developing products and meeting consumer demands. If I go today somewhere and I need to navigate, I'm using the cell phone, a free app on my cell phone to use for navigation system. A car, I drive myself, an Audi A6, fully equipped, but that navigation system has not the same level of quality what I would expect from a navigation system from which I get if I compare it to a cell phone and a free app. And I think there's something fundamentally wrong with that. If I buy a car for 50,000 euro, I would expect to get a decent navigation system. But there's more. The industry is also under enormous cost pressure. Many people from you will notice it on a daily basis. We see reducing volumes, not only today, but even before. We already saw quite significant reducing in production and sales volumes. We also see an increase of macroeconomic risks. And we've put this down already 2 years ago. So this is fully independent what's happening today in the corona crisis. But it is an example. The corona crisis is probably only an element of this whole transition, what I said earlier. We see, what I just said, also a higher need for investment in R&D. So thus cash management becomes a very important factor in the whole industry. And there's a third factor. There's a third important trend, what we see, and that is the lack of technical professionals. This is driven, or this is caused, partially by the cost rationalization, what we have seen over the years, over the last 10, 15 years, but is also caused by limited availability of people. And thirdly, we see that due to the new technologies, we also see that we need new competencies within a company. And all these three parameters, or these three aspects, they also work together and sometimes against each other as a negative impact on the automotive industry. And in that context, we truly believe that you need to do it differently. So it's not only about what you do, but how you do this. And this is what we believe, the need for a new business model. Before we are going to look to the solution what we have provided and what we have developed over the last years, I'm going to take you with to the current business model and the current structures, what's happening in the automotive industry. First of all is what I call the transactional relationships. If a customer, be it a tier 1 supplier or an OEM, wants to develop a product, they always work with external companies, with specialists, because they need them. And they need them even more if you have a higher complexity in materials or in other technologies. And they work together, and they use those suppliers to come to this end product. But there are three main issues in this current system where I believe there is which is limiting or hindering us for getting real innovations. The first one, we are going to have a look to the individual relationship between a customer and a supplier. If a customer wants to work together with a supplier, they do basically two things. First of all, they write in a very much detail what they expect from that supplier. So they come with a specification book, but not only that, they provide all kinds of standards and procedures and maybe even explanations about how they worked and what they expect from such a supplier. And that is actually also limiting the innovation and the creativity of that specific specialist. And we all do understand why they do it, but I'm focusing here on the fact that it is hindering innovation. And there's another aspect, and that is the lowest cost. Suppliers or customers actually are always looking for the lowest cost. So what they do, they provide a RFQ to a certain supplier, to 3 suppliers, maybe sometimes 4 suppliers, and they give the business to the end, to the one who's giving the lowest cost. But we also all know that if I do this 5, 6 times, I've bought 5 or 6 times the cheapest solution. We also know that does not necessarily give the cheapest end product. And this is actually where customers should look after. And there's a second element, and that is in the whole development process. If you take a look to the full development process, this process is under a continuously cost and timing pressure. To give you an example, we see more and more that prototypes, or actually I should say the industrialization serial tools, are starting before the prototypes are completely ready and tested. So we start with industrialization without the lessons learned of a prototype. I think there's also something wrong with that. We are not using that advantage. And there's another element, and we are not often looking to a system solution. Everybody looks too much to his own specific domain. A CAD supplier, a CAD engineer is focusing on delivering the best possible CAD model, but not necessarily to the right best product. And that is actually what we should do. We should look to the whole system, including materials, design, and process. But there is unfortunately only too less support or a triggering for suppliers to do so. Everybody is put in his box, and you should deliver and focus on your own milestones. So that's the second issue with the current business model, with the current structure what we are using in the automotive industry. If you take that now in the context, and that's for me the third complexity, what we are adding to this, is that there is a huge, an enormous amount of new technologies coming up. In the last few years, and maybe in the last 5 years, and even in the upcoming years, there will be more and more new technologies arising. As you can see here on the right side, we are more integrating software, electronics. We are talking more and more about bio-based materials, or organosheets, or any other materials we are using. Customers want to have a product which is also has a best ecological footprint. So these all making it a very sequential and a very transactional relationship, very difficult to get to the right innovations. So this is what we've done with FAST. We looked to that and we said, okay, what would be now the ideal situation in this industry? What do we need to do very different? And first of all, you always need to work on in the three domains: materials, design, and process. And you should do that together. Fast Automotive is an alliance of highly specialized suppliers, and we work closely together. And what is then the ideal situation? What do I expect from our company? Is first, we work with specialized and innovative people and companies. That's very important. We only want to work with the best specialist, with the best material supplier, with the best designer, with the best CAE person, with the best process or tool maker. That is very important because they can help us further. And secondly, we also want to have a certain level of agility and entrepreneurial skill set. And you will see that later on basis on our face shield project. But this is a very important characteristics what we want to have in our company. And thirdly, we also want to have a certain technology flexibility. We just saw on that on the slide before that there's a huge amount of technologies coming, and nobody can really predict what is coming in the next 1 or 2 years, or even in the next 5 years. That will be very difficult to predict that on an individual application or on an individual product. So as a company, you need to be flexible to be sure that you are able to implement the right technology, what your customer is asking, and not that you are still assembling old navigation systems where cell phones can do already much better than your 50, 60K car. And fourthly, you need to work simultaneously and always with a system approach. So always have a look to what is the end result, what I want to achieve, instead of doing it sequentially, step by step. That is the ideal situation, and that is what we have created within FAST. But to do so, that's nice, but you also need to have the right structure, company structure in place. So that was our second thing, what we did. We have developed or set up a cooperation, a cooperative, or in Dutch, a coöperatie. And in that model, in that structure, we are working with the specialized suppliers. There is no competition, and we are working along the whole value chain in a very agile structure, And you see here in the picture, we have in the inner circle, we are working there with 5 companies. We are working there closely together. The smallest company has about 10, 15 million turnover. The biggest company has 1 billion turnover. And we are working there together. But we are not doing it alone. We have already identified about 12, 13 suppliers, companies, where we are also working closely with. And there will be a few will also join in the inner circle in the future. We will grow step by step into that circle. So we have this cooperation. That is a very dynamic organization, and this is where we organize then also the cooperation. And underneath that cooperation, that cooperative, we have put a BV as a legal entity, a GmbH or an LTD in the other countries, but we are based here in the Netherlands, so we have a BV, besloten vennootschap. And that is the lead entity for the outside world. So that is where we do business with. This is how we do business with suppliers, with customers, And that's a contract partner also for our customers. And this is also where we do our sales and marketing. And from that, I'm also the CEO, for example. So we have the structure in place. The third thing, what we have, is we have looked to our competencies. So what do we now need to be really good at? Now, first of all, what we need to do is focusing on open innovation. And we want to have an open innovation that we are really able to achieve the best performances, the best product design process combination. We want to challenge each other and have a look to, can we improve the recipe so that we can have a benefit in the design, that we can get a better design, product design, lighter, thinner, stronger, or can we improve the product design so that we have a lower tooling cost or a shorter cycle time of the injection molding machine. But that is very important, that you create an open innovation culture so that companies can work together. Secondly, we also need to have a very agile development process, because that creates then efficiency and a truly reduced lead time. So instead of that, a OEM, a supplier, normally goes from one to the other, goes back, then goes to the next phase. We work together with all the specialists together, and we have a very efficient and very highly aligned process. So we can make steps very easily. The toolmaker can already start buying steel or aluminium even before the product design is finished, because they know exactly what is coming from them. Only the customer needs to have a approval for that. But it is very aligned and very efficient way of working. And we are sharing our network and our knowledge. Because you can imagine that a raw material supplier, or a toolmaker, or a design specialist has a very different knowledge and very different access to very different parties at customers, different customer contacts at a certain customer. They all our partners have, for example, BMW as one of their customers. But everybody has very different contacts and gets different information. But it can really help if a tool supplier knows already in the early phase what kind of new technologies are coming, so he can improve his technology and can maybe even take advantage of his manufacturing process and come up with some great ideas to improve the tooling. And last but not least, we are continuously learning along this product value chain. Because of this chance that we are working from the very early concept phase until the industrialization, we see a lot happening and we are learning from it. But you need to have an active tool in place so that you're really learning from each other and from what you're doing as a company. So that's our focus on the competencies. Now, if you take a look then, very concrete, what does that mean in our way of working? I can show you here a few things what we have. First of all, we have our team meetings. Yeah, that is, I think, very easy to understand. We do it on operational team, on operational level, but we also have regular meetings with the CEOs of the partners. To give you there an example on something what we do here is based on the COVID-19 crisis, what we've seen, we have taken from PwC and Roland Berger, they came up with macroeconomic views. We have translated that in a, what does that mean for our business? We have provided that to all our partners, and the partners have translated that to what does this macroeconomic view caused by the corona crisis, what does that mean for our business? We are now in the middle of putting that together, and we are making there a very nice picture so that we have the macroeconomic view, and we understand how is everybody using that information and improving his own business to avoid and to even improve or build upon chances coming from the corona crisis. That's very interesting to see if you do that all along the whole value chain again. But that is just an example. We have communications, we do events, of course now much more online events, but you can also imagine that we were already used in having online events because we have parties in Munich, in Hamburg, and here in Sittard and Geleen. So online working was already for us something we were doing already. Then this Wikifast, this is an example of how we store information. It's a kind of database what we have. And very important, we have a very specific project management system. Now, to have a look quickly on that project management system as well, but this is the core of the business of FAST, is that we are able to manage our projects very highly aligned with our partners, and it's on aggregated level, so we follow the big process and the process phases, what you have in the automotive industry with the milestones, and you see underneath the activities what we can do, but the real core of the business of FAST Automotive is that we are able here to work together with these parties and aggregate that system, and that we have this very agile and efficient alignment of the individual activities. So what are the proven benefits for our customers? Of course, when we started with FAST, we had some ideas. What could be the benefits for our customer? But after the first projects, we also held interviews with our customers to gain their feedback on the advantages. And this is basically a summary of what they said, what are for them the true benefits. First of all, they said you were able to come up with a much better technical results, because you bring this knowledge together. There is nobody compromising or building sand sacks or having too much safety in the product, in the process, or in the recipe of the material, because it works together. We adjust a recipe or the right material choice based upon that specific, very specific design need or on that process need. So they said, the customer said, you were able to come up very quickly with a very good technical solution for us, much better than we have seen so far. Secondly, your process was also very quickly, because there is a short alignment, and people, they trust each other and work with each other on a daily basis, and it's very easy to hand over from the CAD engineer to the tool engineer, because they know each other, and they pick up the phone and they say, this is what I'm doing right now, what do you think? Can you use that in your tool? And there's a very short alignment. So if you take that whole process and do this along the whole process, then you save quite some time, and you reduce also much more your risk, because there is much more alignment on maybe some technical failures already up front. And there were some more items what were called by the customer, said, yeah, if you take a look to the whole system, you are cheaper on the whole system cost. For us, it's also very nice that we have a one-stop shop. We have one contact at FAST, and they take care that we work together with the right specialists. Sometimes you're working with 2, 3, 4 suppliers, sometimes with one partner only. Yeah? Then you also are able to give us a solution which is, of course, very broad. You can apply various technologies to us. And what was also mentioned a few times is you continuously look to the end product. You continuously look to what is the end result, what is the need, the specification, the requirements for that specific application. And not only on that intermediate activity. So that is about the business model and how we work together. If I now have a quick look to, and that is, this is all actually also relating all to the face shield. You maybe will not see it yet, but hang on, we will get there. Only one item what I would like to show you is about FAST itself, is we are applying that to certain teams. We have defined 4 themes. First is what we call the lightweight lab. Then we have the smart innovation lab. This is where we are focusing on integration of electronics and plastics. Yeah, I think the first one, the lightweight, explains itself what we are focusing on. Then we have thirdly, we have the circularity lab. We see also there now, also during the crisis, more and more customers asking for our circularity solutions. And last but not least, we have also a very efficient product development system and a product development lab. So this is what we normally offer to our customers in the automotive industry. But then Corona came along, and we came up with our face shield project. And you might remember the first pictures, I think was back in the beginning of March, where we all saw that all kind of people, healthcare people, workers from the healthcare industry, fully packed with personal protection equipment, and we saw all these pictures on TV. It was a very dynamic and very confusing time, I think, for all of us. And then secondly, we also saw the picture of the young Italian nurse who made this picture from herself and posted it on Instagram, where she showed her face after a day working with these protection sheets, or with the protection equipment, what she was using. And of course, this touched everybody. Everybody was touched by this picture and said, this can't be true. We need to do better than that. And then a lot of people, a lot of initiatives, very good initiatives started, and people started developing what we now call the face shields. They already exist, but they were not able, not in such manner as we see them here on the picture of the young guy on the right side. And actually, we were a lot of people, and even myself, I was looking into that, and I thought, like, we are a very highly advanced technology society in the meanwhile. We can do a lot with artificial intelligence, with big data. We build the most complex materials. And is this really the best what we can do if we are in a global crisis where basically every country in the world is affected? Is then this 3D printed part the best what we can do if we need really high volumes and the best quality? I don't think so, to be honest. I think we can do much better than that. And that is what not only I thought, but a few people in our company said, we need to do this better. Because it was also a time, a period, and we still probably are in there, where people think, what can I do to support? We saw the hospitals, the nurses, they were all struggling due to the corona crisis, and they were working day and night. We remember the pictures of the people in the hospital. And everybody had the feeling, what can I do? What can I do better and to support those people? And actually we did. We said, yes, we need to do this. So we came up with what we call our face protection shield project. And what is it? It is a mass production of a high quality face shield. Because that's what we thought, we need to have a high quality face shield and we need to have mass production. That is important. We also said, hey guys, we don't need to earn money on this. This is for us non-profit. We can do it quickly. And yes, we need to invest. We need to invest in production. We need to invest in materials, in design, engineering, project management. Yes, and some part of the cost, of the hard cash out cost, we would like to get covered. But that's it. That's it. We don't want to make money out of it. And it was, on the end, it was a project led by Faust Automotive Group. We worked with all our partners together. And actually, it was very interesting to see that even one of our customers in Alpha Roof System from Venray, they even offered themselves also a partner in this. And today, I actually just, before the webinar, I got a call from them again. They are doing right now still the assembly of those many thousands of shields, what we are producing. So we also said, we have some partners in Germany, partners in the Netherlands. Said, okay, let's focus here with a small team on the Netherlands. And the partners in Germany are doing basically something similar in the south of Germany. And we focus here on the Dutch part. So that was most intensively we worked together here with Cupron, Polyscope, and Alpha. We also said we are going to focus on the first and second line healthcare in the Netherlands. That's step one. And secondly, maybe in the next few weeks, we can also start looking after other branches or industry to support them. Now, this is the product what we have, and I can show you here our end product. This is an example of our face shield, and yeah, we started with the production of it. Made some advertisement. You see here on the right side a picture of me at the facility of Cupron. We made very easily and quickly picture, and we had somebody was supporting us with the brochure, making the brochure. But the important one was also to get here a 3D printed part. We had here support from Chill Labs. They supported within 24 hours to make us 10 of these prototypes, so we could start already shipping parts to first customers to get feedback. So if you take it then a look to the whole system and the whole process what we developed, I showed you before our quite complex project management system. Of course, we were not able to apply that full comprehensive project management. So we had a kind of shortened version of that. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. So we first got into a phases, and I'm very honest, it was completely chaos. We are not an expert in supplying personal protection equipment to a dentist, for example. That is not our business. We are doing something completely different, as you understand. So we didn't have basically nothing, so we had to start from scratch. So in the first days, and maybe week, 2 weeks, there's a lot of chaos. But we are used to work together with the various partners. So we had daily calls, we had daily meetings, and we had the phase of what I call that was purely survival. We had to survive, and we had to first you form a team, but you also, and that is very important, I will show you that also in a second, you also need to, and that period already, you need to think, what is the next step? You can start in chaos, but you need to be aware that chaos is only something temporary. So it started with the idea. We came up with the idea, can we do better? Yes, we can. But then you need to motivate people maybe, and you need to get commitment. I think the motivation was absolutely no problem. Everybody was highly motivated. Commitment is also turned into the next point, budget. You need to have money. You need to make money available. And also that, with entrepreneurs, and we said, yes, we will do it. We will do it, we will make quickly a budget, and we have high risk. We fully understand, we have high risk, but let's do this. Together, we can solve it, even though we don't have, not yet, a lot of questions being answered. Then you form a team, and you make some basic roles and responsibilities. Because we are used to do that, it was for us not quite a difficult one. And you need to have trust, because one starts already building the tool, and the other starts buying the material, but you need to trust on each other that we are doing the right things, and that if something goes wrong, because there's always something going wrong, that you align quickly with each other, and then you work together to improve that and to solve that together, and that you don't start finger pointing to each other, for example. So that trust is a very important factor. But also one, like I said, we have no clue about face shields, really. In the meanwhile, yes, but at that time, no, we didn't have any clue. So we said we need to have customers involved. We started working with dentists. I called my own dentist, for example, but we also worked with other dentists. We started working with the hospital in Antwerp and in Maastricht and in Roermond. And we all start working with them together to get feedback on, if you get this product, what do you expect from this product? What is important for you? And based on that, we started to doing the product development. There was already, of course, a design in place. Yes, that design was, but it was not the optimal design. So we had to improve that, because we got customer feedback and we said we want to have a high quality product. That was the first phase. Then the second phase, you start stabilizing. Even though for your feeling you might be still in the middle of a chaos, you still start working. You need to start work on stabilizing on your processes and your product development and on the whole development and actually also the whole process. So we started doing some sales and marketing. We had press, we had on LinkedIn, we started making the brochure. We started printing the brochures and distributing the brochures. Started contacting people. We had a few hours a day in the evening or during the day, calling people, sending emails. Are you interested? Would be something for you? Can we help you? Do you need it? And then you need to start up the production process, because saying yes, building a tool and ordering material, you don't have yet a production process in place. So you need also to organize that process. And that needs to be somewhere in between, because the prototype supplier Cupron, for example, they were still making a lot of prototypes for their normal customers. And Polyscope, which ordered the material with Albis and in China, they're also having their normal business going on. And then you also need to have some very basic business processes in place, because you can't continue for weeks or maybe for months and have it only in chaos. You won't survive that. So you need to have some fundamental and basic structure in place which helps you to automate things. And then we had this, we had the first part shipped to the customers. We also organized that we got some customer feedback. We asked customers, what do you like from the product? And what can we improve? Even though sometimes we couldn't, we knew that we couldn't improve any longer on the polycarbonate sheet. So that was a tricky one, because if I ask a customer, do I need something to improve? Then, and they recommend you, yeah, you shouldn't use that that polycarbonate sheet anymore. Yeah, then we just ordered for a lot of the material in China. But still, it is important to get at least feedback from customers so you understand where you are, even though it's tricky. And then the third phase, and this is actually where we have been through right now, is what we call the scale up or the growth phase. So then you start really automating your business. You start looking after what is actually the market potential for this, because we are now supporting here, and who are our customers and where are they? How can I find them? And you maybe need to work with different partners. We had companies, sometimes smaller companies, calling us, can I support you? Oh yes, you can, for sure. But if you are going to scale up, are they still the right partners? Are they still willing to support also on the long term? And we even developed a very basic, but still a business plan for other parties, which can later on take over our business. So these were the three phases where we went through, and the last phase we are still obviously in. Now, if I then have a look at the product development process, I show you now a few details on the most critical points where we have been working on. So to start with the design, we first, like I said, we had a basic design for this face shield. You saw that from the young guy on the right side. Something similar we also got. We said, is that ideal? No. Then we rather take now maybe 2 days or maybe 1.5 working day so that we can optimize the design. So what is important? We need some certain stiffness. You need some stability on the product, because again, we want to have a high quality product. So you want to have a stable part on your head. So that is important. Like I said, we have customer feedback, and we also had a quality review or product review on the improvements. On the end, we had a list with maybe 25 points, even on this part. You have 25 points where we thought, okay, this is something where we can do better, where we can improve. Can we do that? And how fast, and what is the impact if we do that? That's something what we did. And then on the end, we had to source very quickly partners and suppliers. Sometimes partners, they called us and they said, I can help you. I'm willing to support you there, even almost sometimes for free, sometimes at cost price. So it was very warm and very good to see that. But in some cases, we also had to select our own material, like, for example, the polycarbonate, which is a very important one. And secondly, this is where we come to the material. We had a look, okay, what is now the expectations for such material? We saw a lot of these parts on the market, and we were sourcing. That was probably one of, besides the tool and the material for the tool, this was also a very critical part, because this has certain needs which really make the difference between high quality or a bad quality. First of all, it needs to be, you want to have it hard coated, so that it's not with a small scratch that you have already scratched on the product. Yeah? PC, PMMA, these are all sensitive materials, so you need to have something with a coating on. That was one mandatory. And secondly, we also wanted to have an anti-fog, because I think that even I could understand that if you are working on an intensive care and it is warm and you are breathing, then yeah, you don't want to have fogging on your product. And still today, you see a lot of face shields which don't have this anti-fog. I think that is the most important one. So that's what we did. We said, okay, this is important. Where can we find it? And unfortunately, already in that time, it was predictable that PC and PMMA are increasing. price time. There was a huge need, a huge demand. And I talked with suppliers. They said, yeah, I expect there are some people are now buying this to resell it for a much higher price. So really, there were there were companies and people, they were abusing, I would say, the phases where we were in. So that was a very difficult one, because you first say, okay, we don't want to compromise on quality, but then you maybe have to find, do you pay the highest price for your product? So in the end, we found material in China. And that was maybe not the first thing where you think about if you then just talk about the Corona crisis. But to be honest, that was really the best material what we could get. Here within Europe, we were not able at that time to find that material with these specifications and with that lead time, because we wanted to have it in the shortest possible lead time. I had here companies, they were offering me lead times for in June or July. That wouldn't have helped us back in March or in April, and even not in May. So that was an important one. But actually all the products are, they are important to have if you want to have a high quality product. There's foam as well. We had here a supplier from the automotive industry. They came up and they offered their service to us, and they said, we are an expert in foams, we can supply you the foam, but we first are going to help you to make the best selection for a great foam. I think we really have a good foam here. It is cleanable, you can clean it with ethanol, same as actually the polycarbonate shield. You can even clean it with ethanol. And it's very comfortable also for skin contact, for long durant skin contact. And then some other things that you want to have this strap to being adjustable, and that needs to be sourced and assembled together. Now, and then in the process, we are basically three main processes. First is the injection molding of this head mount. Then secondly, we are getting the polycarbonate on big plates, and we laser cut them. And thirdly, you need to assemble that. Now, to build, the most critical lead time was to build the tool. Normally, if you think about an injection molding tool, you easily talk about 8, 10, 12 weeks for an aluminium tool. Cupron was able to build that tool within 12 working days. 12 days, I should say, actually. Working days was for them also on Saturday and Sunday in that period. So that was incredible. And that really helped us, because then we were already after 14 days, we were producing the first parts, injection molded parts. Now, this is all what we did together, and then on those individual domains. And then you have also some other items which are important. First, you need to come up with a kind of financial planning. What is the cost price for it? If you don't have the material source, and you don't have the assembly time, and you don't have the how much parts do I get out of a plate, and if you don't have everything sourced yet, it is very difficult to come already up with with a cost price. But I think we did. There was sometimes we had to switch. We have one switch on the cost price, but also on the investment. How much money do you need to invest? And then also an important one, you need to have an order to cash process. There's also something what you need to have in place. Otherwise, that goes completely wrong. We send for one project, we send one invoice or maybe 4 invoices. But here in this case, we have so many different customers, so many dentists, so many sport doctors which are buying from us. We need to send hundreds of invoices. If you are not set up to do so, then this process is quite important. And it was important to have also a continuously monitoring of the process. So where are we? We started in chaos, like I said and we moved and we made steps forward, and then you have a drawback, and then you come up again and you come up with a solution, but you need, at a certain moment, you need to start stabilizing it. And we did that through continuously communication. Now, if you take a look to our product, I've got it here as an example. And what do we have? We have an elastic strap, and that is a buttonhole band. And that is supplied to us on rolls, and we cut it on the required length. We actually found out that we did some tests, and actually we made it too short. Apparently our heads are a little smaller than the average head, because we thought, okay, this is enough. But no, we had to increase the length a little for some people, that it fits for all. We also found out, I personally didn't know that, even though my wife is a doctor, that in hospitals they are using a lot of latex-free products. And yeah, is there latex in this wrap? Yes, there was. So that's something we also had to find a solution for a non-latex version. Then we had the foam part. I already said to you, we have a foam part. We worked there together with Master Foam as a supplier, and this is a closed cell PE foam, and the great example is that it has no fluid absorption, which you can imagine if you're working and sweating, it is quite important. It is also suitable for long-term skin contact, also I think a very important factor. And again, this needs to be cleaned with ethanol or ammonium. And the third part is the head mount. We actually we took the time to make the fast logo in it. That was actually no extension of our lead time at all, so we could do that in between. But actually we also offer to customers, we can add your logo if you want. That's one thing. But then, more important, it needs to be comfortable and lightweight. Because lightweight, if you can imagine, if you have to wear this for 8 hours a day or maybe 10 hours a day, then you really want to have the minimum weight. You want to have a comfortable and solid product, but you also want to have it lightweight. That is also a compromise you need to make there. And Cupron, they made the tool, they built the tool, like I said already, and they did the injection molding, or they do the injection molding. And last but not least, we have the transparent shield, polycarbonate, hard-coated, and anti-fogging. We also made the decision for that we had a stable part. So it was 0.4 mil thick. And interesting to see, how do you make that decision? It is, it is a combination of various factors. First of all, when we started with the product, I jumped in the car, drove to Hornbach and bought their polycarbonate. And you see the first parts, and they were 0.4 mil or 1 mil thick, and you have the first impression, because we didn't have any impression what does that mean, the difference between 0.4 or 0.8 or 1.1 millimeter thickness. But also, of course, we were limited because of the availability of the material. And we said we want to have a high quality and stable part. So it was at a certain moment decision, shall we go for 0.4 or an 0.8? But we made the decision, thank God, for an 0.8 millimeter thick, because that gives more strength and stability to the part. We still see, and I recently got again an 0.4 millimeter, 0.3 millimeter thickness, but to be honest, my view, that part is a little too unstable, and I don't think it's very suitable if you have to wear it that for 8 hours a day. Now we have the full product information, specification also available, and I see already in the chat that Wouter, for example, is asking, can we get the slides afterwards? Yes, they are available, so you also will get this information. That's absolutely no problem, so you will get it. Like I said here, the total, all the information, the polypropylene was supplied by our partner Albis. Together with Polyscope, they did the sourcing, and we worked out the requirements, and Albis, they had really a great solution for that material as well. So in total, we came up with a 95 gram part weight, which is, I think, acceptable for such a product. Now then you have the product, and then you also have a production process. Injection molding and laser cutting is here the critical processes, but we had to split it in the various. This was done really in the shortest time possible. We had a very short time, we had the experience, we pulled the people together and said, okay, how does the process look like, and who's responsible for what, and where are the gaps? And then we found out that, well, maybe some gaps in some place, and then, okay, we know what to do, and you build it up, but you see very clearly and very quickly, you see what do you still need to do. I see actually right now that we have still an older version because we did not confirm here yet the box size of the product where we were shipping to, and that was also something we had to define. So this is all done in injection molding, and we have now also made a short video of the process of the injection molding process, where we have then the tool from Cupron in production. I'm going to show you it right now. So you see here the the closing of the tool, injection molding, and part is put out automatically in the tool. And underneath the machine, there's a box where then all the heads, mounts drop in and are taken from production. So you see here some nice screenshots from the injection molded part and then from the assembled part without the shield itself. And here with the shield, actually with an older foam, actually the same foam, but one foam was in white and the other one was in black. So, but then you have a product, and a product you need to sell. Even though there is maybe a high need, still you need to find those people. But we didn't have any sales process or sales channel to this industry available. So what we did, we had actually the companies in place, and every company we had a what I call a ambassador. For Fast, it was me. For Polyscope, Patrick Mussers. For Cupron, Rob van der Wal. And in Alpha was Jos Sanders, VP Technology. And they all started working and supporting also on where is the need, to find the market, who has the most need, who has the priority. So we had the first target group, and we defined very quickly who are these. These are doctors, IC nurses, dentists, physiotherapists. Now, yeah, we had the first group, and that was the main priority. So this is where we started shipping on. And that went already through the roof, I can say. So we supported this group. And then after a few weeks, we said, okay, maybe we can also have a look, because we saw that there were companies, they also wanted to start up their business again. Maybe we can also support them, because we know that, for example, VDL Netcar, they were starting up. And they also said, yeah, we are people are working now with mount mask, but that is not very convenient. So we need to have something different. So we offered them our product, said, maybe this is something where we can help you with. And they really liked it, and they bought it. Same with DAF and BMW, other companies in the automotive industry. So we had another second target group, which was, let's say, maybe as a priority number 2, because we still focused quite a lot on the healthcare industry. But we saw there was already, maybe at a certain moment, getting less and less demand from that area. So we also started moving on the other areas, including even, for example, schools or recreation companies or organizations, and even townships. If you now have a look to which customers to which industries did we supply to, you see here a very nice picture. And indeed, the automotive industry was, in the end, our biggest industry. And it has actually more to do that they obviously need, in a very short time, they need a lot of parts. So a dental practice, they only need maybe 10 or 20 of these shields, and they say, okay, I'm happy with that. But if you work with DAF trucks, for example, in Eindhoven, they want a few thousands of these shields. Same as with Netcar or BMW. Or IEC Group. Now, all these were on the end are from the automotive industry, and then in volume they need the biggest volume on the end. But we supplied also to others. Vibrant was a big customer for us, DSM and Polyscope here as well. And then if you look, there's also quite an interesting picture to in what region did we supply these parts. this confirms to me that it was basically self-selling, because we had our contacts with the ambassadors. They showed it to their contacts, and from there on it went on and on and on. We didn't have to do anything. There was no automatic sales, and it was really also, I would say, almost limited to the region of Limburg. A few were shipped outside, and there were even some products were shipped in other countries. Now, and then for me, the most and the best result of all this was the feedback what we got from our customers. I worked here with Humphrey Robinson, for example, a dentist in Roermond. I worked very closely with him, and he said, we were testing various face shields, but your one is absolutely by far the best. I was on a Saturday, in the first week I was working 7 days, but at a certain moment, it was May, the garden was growing quite a lot, so I had to do some garden work. And during the Saturday, I was working in the garden. I get a phone call from another dentist and calling me. He said, look, I've actually nothing to say, only then your product is really great. We are so happy with what you did. For such few money, we get such a quality product. It really, really helps us. We are really happy with it. Everybody in our practice is happy with it. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, then your day is good. Regardless, even if you load them on for another hour. But no, that is what those feedback was really, really nice and really good to hear. And we got that from a lot. From Netcar, from BMW, physiotherapists. It's great fit, light, comfortable to wear it all day long, and I think that is also a very important requirement what you have with working with these parts. Now, there was also quite a lot of marketing around it. We started ourselves basically on LinkedIn, but then we also saw later on that other people were sharing it as well, even people which we didn't knew. And we had a lot of views and a lot of likes on our LinkedIn. But there was also, it started with the Rabobank. They had a first interview with us, a podcast. And then the Limburger, they called me. And then the Liof, they called me. And they also supported there with the press. And then on a certain moment, Financieel Dagblad called us. Yeah, and then you can imagine that how it really starts going on. And even Alleen, they also called us. And we had an interview on Alleen Radio. So it really, the marketing and the promotion was really good, was really like. If I now look back, what are the success criteria? And I actually need to watch timing a little, I recognize right now. But first of all, if I look to what made us really successful, I think it really starts with recognizing the issue. And the issue was not only that there were no face shields, but that the quality and the volume, what we saw with the 3D printed or with the other versions, that was not high enough. A dentist, they said, I don't care what the price is, or somebody from the hospital, they say, if you have to work 8 hours for such a part, you don't care if you have to pay €2, €8, or maybe even 15 euros. There were parties, they were asking 15 euros for this part, which we actually did not do, of course. But they said, we don't care what the price is. We only want to have a high quality product. And funny to see is that basically all the developments went into the low cost, but also low quality versions. So that was for us the issue. Then it's about how do you solve it? Yeah, I think we were able with the material and design and process specialist, we were able to solve it with the right specialist and quickly and in a good manner. That was a major issue. Then what I said with this market position, the quality, I think that was really what made the difference. That was also what people were looking for. And if you buy today still some of these face shields, they are not comfortable to put on your head for 8 hours a day. So this is what we did. Yeah, and of course, I think we through our non-profit fact, we also created some sympathy. And people said, yeah, you have specialists, you don't misuse it. So yeah, this is really great. And if you then also have some service on top of it, then I think people are really happy with it. And then the last one is about the entrepreneurial skills. Because I also believe that you need to have a certain entrepreneurial skills within your company, so not only within one person, but really within your company to get to a solution, because you need people who come up with solutions and not with problems. So it starts with an idea, and then you need to be creative, and that is for me also a very important one. Define your strategy. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to have this end? Because starting in chaos is not a problem, but if you don't define where you want to go, you will also end in chaos. And that's what we not did. We went very quickly into a very stable business, I can say. Then you need to have trust between partners. I gave already the example earlier. We had problems. We had issues where we thought, oh my God, what's happening here? But you identify them, you talk about them, and you solve them together. You do that all together. If you don't do it together, you will fail. Then you also have you are an example. As a leader of a company, you are an example and you inspire others. You need to show also your own commitment. And I think everybody within our company, we worked really very hard. And sometimes we had weeks where we really worked 7 days a week. I had days where I worked 15, 16, 17, 18 hours a day. And you do that together. Then you also need to use your network. I had no clue how to sell face shields, but we started. And what is a product requirement for a face shield? But we started doing that, and we did. We started using our network, and we just simply asked, and there were probably a lot of people who thought, where is he coming with? I have no clue, and they completely ignored us, for sure. But there were a lot of people also saying, hey, that's great, I'm going to help you. Even people who didn't have their own network, they said, I'm going to use my network as well to help you. So that was really, really great to see. And again, I come back again to that. You start in chaos, but you need to have a plan in place so that you go from this chaos to a more stable and more to order in the whole process. So I think that is in a summary about our face shield project. If you are actually interested in a face shield, you are more than welcome to contact me. Have a look on our website. You can see it here. It is available. We still have parts available. At the moment we are sold out, but we have already ordered a new batch material, which we are producing very soon again. So there are parts available. If you're interested, just visit our website or call me or send me an email. Absolutely no problem, of course. So from here, I would say thank you very much for listening. I hope it was interesting for you, and we are now open also for some questions. So we have here a question from Quint. There's still quite some discussions on the effectiveness of face masks against the spread of corona. Is there any research performed or ongoing on the effectiveness of these face shields? It's a very valid question. We actually had the same doubt or the same remarks, and we were not a specialist. So we said, first of all, even I can't start a research on it. From technical point of view, I don't know what to research on that time. And secondly, there was no time available to do such a research. So we did not do that research, but we talked with hospitals and with other first and second line healthcare workers. So they gave us the feedback that they said, yes, it is no replacement of a mask, of a mount mask with filter, for example. That's absolutely not. And that is also what we tell to our customers, is that it is no replacement of a mount mask. But if you want to have something additionally or on top of that, or if you don't have a mount mask with a filter, then the face shield might be a very good alternative solution. So we also never recommended our product to our customers and stating you need to do this, or this is a good alternative, this is better than the others. We didn't say. We only said we got here a face shield. We understand from the specialist it is for you a very good product. You can use it. Don't ask me for what you use it or how you should use it. How we could say, of course, something, and also how it is clean. But we could not do anything on the effectiveness. That was not our task in this, and we were also very open to that. I hope this answered the question. There was actually also another question about does this product have a CE marking on it? No, it hasn't. That was also something we investigated, and we talked with the specialist. We had a few specialists on that, on the CE marking, and doing some testing on the product. Also, their time was the most limiting factor, because the question was, what do we have differently if we have a CE marking on the product? There was no difference actually, unless that maybe a hospital can then buy a product, but a dentist says, I don't care too much about the CE marking at this moment in time. I care about safety, and this product helps me for safety reasons. So I'm using this product right now. I think in the long term, for sure you need to look into testing, doing also doing some research on the question from Quint. You also need to do some research on the effectiveness on face shields. You need to have a look into legislation and coming up with a CE marking. But I think from that point, Fast will not always be a face shield producer. So we are they're also looking to a partner who can, at a certain moment, hand over this, where we can hand it over, so that they can continue with the business. Okay, you're welcome, Quint. Any other questions? No? Then I think we are ready to close off. Thank you very much for listening again. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me anytime. You're welcome.